very special episode of the HR and Payroll 2.0 podcast. We are live at the WorldatWork Total Rewards event in San Antonio, Texas. And as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks so much, Pete. It's San Antonio, and it is cold for San Antonio.
That's odd.
And
yes.
Let's talk about what's very special about this episode. We're joining some colleagues, esteemed colleagues.
Ooh. Yeah.
Whoa.
Right?
Work definers. Work definers.
I'm sorry. Do you want us to go?
I'm looking over my shoulder. Who's coming?
I'm like, we only have 4 mics.
That be you guys.
Yep. No, it's great, man. We got the boys from Totally Rewarding Chats here, Sean Luchins and Paul Ryman from also, like I said, the Work Defined Network. We're peers, so great to have you guys.
Yeah, stoked.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So here we are. This is my first World at Work event at all, especially Total Rewards, but I'm so excited to be here. Obviously, dips very heavily into my world of the pay and payroll and HCM. And of course, Julie is in and around the benefits and comp and Total Rewards world a lot.
Yeah.
So look, it started yesterday, if I'm correct.
Yep.
What have you guys taken in the last 24 hours? What do you think? Is this your first one?
Oh goodness,
God,
no. You guys are like OGs, right?
I was trying to explain to my wife that I think my first one was in 2004. So I've been in and around it for about 22 years now.
Nice.
I've spoken, I think, 9 of the last 15. So I've been here a lot.
I knew it.
It's bigger, right? I think that's one of the cool things about this event is it's growing, and they've got ambitions for it to be even bigger next year. It probably will come up in the conversation. So there's an energy level.
There's multiple sort of lanes of World at Work, right? There's Total Rewards, but what's the other one? There's another couple, aren't there?
There's a few different tracks when you're here. Of the professionals that are here, there's definitely comp nerds like us. There's some people that are more benefit-centric, but they also have an HR at TR, which is for think of the solo HR practitioner or the multidisciplined HR practitioner.
Yeah.
How can they sort of scale up?
Yeah. So there's not multiple World at Work events. There's one, and then there's...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Is that what you're saying?
No, sorry. There's only one event here.
Okay.
But you could speak more to
So they have this
portfolio.
annual conference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So think of whatever's coming to Nashville, payroll.
Paycon,
global Paycon, whatever, that type of thing.
Okay.
Right? And there are multiple tracks here. So you'll see some on compensation, some on benefits.
Yeah.
You'll see some on, how to be a better professional. Obviously, I have not attended any of those in 25 years.
He skips those.
I skipped those.
Yeah.
There's all those different tracks that are there. And then they do have local affiliates throughout the country. There's 49 local affiliates throughout the country. So and they'll have their own sessions through the year. And so smaller regional ones.
Yeah.
But when you're here, there are those kind of different types of tracks. And then in each one of those, there is usually like anything else, you're new to it. How do I do this? And then there's some advanced stuff.
Yeah.
And then this year, we made it all of 3 minutes and 47 seconds in without saying AI.
Yeah.
Some AI.
We're going to get to that.
There's some cool, interactive sessions where Paul can talk about more, where he's leading somewhere. It's kind of hands-on.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different formats.
One thing I really love about the growth in this area is it used to be you had a benefits leader and a compensation leader. And now almost everywhere, especially in large enterprise, you have this total rewards leader, right? So comp and ben come together, but it comes together with all these different things as well. Payroll is wedged in there sometimes, Wellness is becoming a whole thing all on its own. So I think it's natural that it's growing and super healthy, and I bet it's just going to keep going that way. So
Totally.
This is such an important part of the HR, all the lanes of HR, right? I mean, compensation is why we're all coming to work, right? I mean, let's be honest.
You don't pay, nobody's in the office. It's not difficult.
Yeah, right? I mean,
unless you're TSA, I guess. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Boy, was it nice to see that? I saw so many people thanking them in the airport. I mean, it's like payroll, right? I mean, when the lights don't come on, nobody cares until oh my goodness, we can't switch the light switch on. I thought that was really nice, refreshing positivity in the airport yesterday. I saw a lot of that, just thanking and hugging and
I'm from Chicago. There's no positivity at the airport.
No
People are
positivity.
still frustrated. But yes, there was at least there wasn't the negativity. Let's put it that way. That was our version.
That's something. Step forward.
That's right.
I think it's a lot like payroll, and I've talked about this in the past, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity to do better and help with all the information that's out there now.
Yeah.
But in the past, right? I mean, who here that's listening has sent a letter to, payroll or to HR and said, hey, thanks for getting my paycheck
right. Never.
52 times.
Never.
Right?
No.
It's right next to, in the drafts, next to the one that says, thanks IT for my email working.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's very similarities there, and they are, you and I have talked a lot, Pete, about converging those two departments because they have to, much like you said, Julie, in the past. Comp and Ben are now merging.
Yeah. We've even been exploring a little bit. I'm going to be selfish here about my payroll championing. But one of the things that I sort of talked about a few years ago is this idea that, payroll and the pay experience are getting, obviously the facilitator, but there's so much more behind the scenes of that. And we've actually even brought on a few leaders who are we're finding where payroll is getting nestled underneath Total Rewards with Comp and Ben. And I love that alignment. I thought it was a little bit of an enterprise thing, but we've come across a couple of mid-market, small market employers that are doing that. And maybe that's out of necessity. When you're down market, you kind of got people wearing multiple hats. My wife, for example, works in a small company. She's in the finance department, but they found out she has an HR background. They're like, hey,
guess what?
So she's kind of like the part-time local HR. But no, I love that. To me, that sounds very purposeful, right? When you think about the experience people are having with their compensation, it's much bigger than that pay slip that's coming out every week, right? And there's a lot of thought that needs to go into that. And I think all of those things need to work very, very synergistically to bring about an experience for the people to help them fill their goals. And not everybody's goal is to make the most money. Sometimes it's, I joke around about my daughter, right? With her dog, I always say having time off with the dog and pet insurance is key to her, right? I mean, that's, but really, every employee's got this different lens and desire that they have for their pay. I love that there's more of a concentrated effort to make that an experience, right? And all around. So,
well, that's
so very cool.
One thing I learned when I was in-house, I think we talked about this when you were a guest on our show, that as technology has made some parts of all of those jobs easier, the connectiveness becomes more important. So if there's a payroll issue, odds are it wasn't actually payroll's issue. It was
most of the time
the benefits weren't set up right, or no, the raise actually wasn't entered into the system. So we didn't know that we should change your pay rate, right? So bringing those roles together creates a more sort of centric process mindset.
Yeah.
I know that was my mission when I was in-house. Like, you fix it all. Like, make sure it works end to end, from hire to check.
Yeah,
got to work.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So guys, what's look, you're gearing up. Obviously, I know you're presenting a little bit. You guys have been here for a minute. What's hot this week? What are you hoping to hear? What are you thinking as far as you're going into the week?
I don't like doing this, but there is a lot of talk about AI, because there always is. I think the focus of this week is less about AI is going to change the world and more about, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Land the plane for me, please. Like, what can I actually do in the office tomorrow? So there's a whole space over on the other side of the floor here where it's like hands on keyboard. Let's open your tool of choice, and let's figure out what's a good prompt look like, what's a bad prompt look like, what data should I put in, shouldn't I put in. So I think there's a lot around bringing those things to life, for sure, which is a newer emphasis. Just given where we're at with that life cycle.
I mean, look, the HR and the payroll and all of the communities, sub-communities within those lanes are very good about taking care of each other. And I noticed there's a lot more, especially around AI, of that happening, right? People coming together. How are you using it? What are you doing? Where are you succeeding? Where are you scared? I think that's really, really awesome. But I don't know, are these events bringing that out and capturing that real, that genuine sort of community? I hope so. I think it is.
I think so. I'll piggyback a little on where you were.
We need each
vibe,
other,
right? I think the vibe last year around AI was, oh shit. Right? I mean, that was the vibe, and what is it? What's it going to do? When are the droids going to take over mode, right? And this year you're seeing kind of the sessions go back to, this is what we still need to do and how AI helps you do it, or specific AI things are actually happening. So I think I think people are still freaking out about the roles, and I think it's going to bifurcate into two different spaces, right? You're going to have people who are like, I've been doing kind of Excel, nothing, not thinking work. They still need to have an oh shit moment, to be honest. Right? I don't know payroll as well, but I am not yet run into the total rewards department that is over budgeted and overstaffed.
Not yet.
Right? Like, that department does not exist. And so I think you've got to see a lot of people like, okay, actually pretty cool. I can do a lot of this stuff that used to be tedious and really work on the things that I want to do. And wouldn't it be cool if? And even if they're data nerds, like, before I could only take in 5 of these things, now I can take in 20 of these things and make really informed decisions. And I think that's the change from last year of last year's a little bit of don't worry, we're still going to be careers, to how do we actually use this? Should a vendor be responsible for the AI piece? What do you have to learn? That has really changed this year. And I think that's why you saw sorry, Paul, you're not the only one out there in the session. There's some really cool people. Which
only one with a bow tie.
Only one with a bow tie.
There you go.
Some really
I love
cool
the bow tie,
people that are practitioners, not just vendors, walking through the AI Skills Lab area, which is super cool.
It is.
Right?
I think that's so important, because benefits and comp teams, Total Rewards people, are usually part of a specialized team, right? So they deal with, like payroll, they deal with some of the most, touchy-feely information everybody's afraid of. So you can't just go through the regular routes and ask the same folks internally, how can I use my AI? You really want to hear from your peers and colleagues, and there might not be a huge team internally to your organization.
No, that's why I'm such a big driver of the affiliates and then these meetings. Yeah. It's a huge chance to come, which is why it's so cool. It's practitioners in there sharing what they've done. I mean, let's be honest. When's the last time you were like, I want to go meet somebody new, fun and cool. Let me troll over to HR.
Yeah.
Like, that's not where people go. Usually if someone says go to HR, what's your first thought?
What did I do?
Another shit moment.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, right? And so I think they are in this insular world where it is, and you can't talk about stuff, right?
Yeah.
You can't sit in there and say like, I need to talk about this financial situation or someone's pay.
Yeah.
There's no one there.
But, that's part of the problem. Like, we got to shake that, like, guidance counselor, stigma of HR and realize that it is a strategic partner to the business. They're not there to harm or be the fun police, as I like to say sometimes. They're, hopefully there to sort of guide the business, hopefully, and guide people to their best as well. So, yeah. So look, what are you guys personally hoping to get out of this week? Anything you got personal agendas otherwise where you're kind of hoping to learn certain things or
besides this?
Besides this,
the highlight.
The highlight of the week.
Yeah. Any certain restaurants you're trying to hit? Any swag you're looking for? We had a little swag conversation before this. I hear you guys have some good stuff.
I don't know. We got the hats behind us. I know we got to do at least one session.
Yeah.
Are the hats? I can't see actually behind me. Are they?
The hats are down on the front.
No. There's those hats, but the cowboy hats.
Oh,
the cowboy hats with lights are behind us.
Yeah. That's
all right.
All
right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with the swag. I want to go through and kind of align sometime the brand to what they're giving away.
Yeah.
Thing.
So that's why I'm so.
That could be crushing.
It is.
Crushing exercise.
That's why I'm so proud of as you know, I take it personally to win the swag war every year. As a business owner, I should probably have different objectives than winning the swag war. But like
your marketing team will appreciate that.
Yeah, which is me. So it's. But I think we try to project it's more fun, right? So we have a card game. It's Cards Against Humanity comp style for those who want to play it. Like it's different, and it's like we try to make it clear, like. Doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah, you can have fun with
this. Have a little personality.
We've been trying to figure out. There's another vendor that has the cards for Against HR, One Source Virtual, one of our sponsors. And we've been trying to figure out how to play that live on air with the HR executives and HR tech executives. So if we can figure that out, maybe we need to pioneer that. And that could be a really great segment on our show or your show, any show. I would love to see somebody do it.
Awesome.
That could get crazy.
That could get crazy. You got to make sure who's got the 7-second delay.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Just the logistics of it were really hard. We were trying to figure it out because apparently it became a thing in the pandemic. Playing on Zoom
virtual game
or whatever. Yeah.
Totally.
So there's a way to do it, but you've got to all have the same set of cards, I think, and there's just some logistics that we couldn't figure out well. But if somebody can figure that out, I think it would be a good time.
It would be us. If anybody could figure it out.
If anybody could do it.
It's right here.
Well,
Brain Trust.
It
Part
is.
of the legend.
It is important to bring the fun. I do think when people fun. I know when I reference where I was this week, my oldest said, so you're back to the Pay Dork Festival,
Nerds.
which is
I prefer nerd to dork.
I know. I say there's
like,
other. Yeah, that's not the worst probably version of it as they've aged. But I think it is making it fun and doing whatever. And then that engages the community, right? I think that's the thing that's really cool is you can get people chatting together and then they're more like to work with each other and share stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, and when you've been around the block, you have to show that it is possible to have fun. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have some kind of fun, right?
Totally. Take life less serious.
You can't. This will make you go insane. I mean, I've had a 30-year career in HR and payroll, and I think I would have gone insane if I didn't try to make it fun. And how do we get we talk about this all the time on our show about getting the younger generations to want a career in HR or benefits or comp or total rewards. How the hell do we do that?
Well, I mean, I actually opened this morning session, basically said no one chose TR, right?
Yeah.
Bruh someone chose it in college, but if you were a freshman, in high school going, what I want to do when I grow up? I want to be in total rewards.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bruh, you lie. That's not a true story.
No. Nobody chooses Total Rewards. Total Rewards chooses you.
Right.
And we actually, on our show, we usually ask when they get their career where they were before. And we've had a couple that have said, I was in college and I did an internship and I really thought this was cool. But they come from, and it is a mind-blowing wide array of ways that people get into HR.
Oh, yeah, we asked that as well. It always commonly starts with, I needed a job, so.
Sometimes
And then from there, it just unfolds.
Prison.
That's a good
Yeah, we've seen it all.
Bakery.
We are way behind. We do not have.
Nobody that went to
don't
prison.
put
We
the
don't have
prison
that.
people
Yeah.
into
I mean, there was a story and some context that I'm probably skipping on
Yeah,
that
but
one,
don't,
still.
because just leave it right there. That makes it
more
even
fun.
better.
That might have been me because I've given a speech on my career. I gave a speech on my career, and if you know my career, it started in the Marines, and I actually audited HR data when I went in the Marine Corps in a shared service center, right? I thought back then it was a white-collar prison, but it turned out to be a career. But I've actually been in HR since I was 18, unbeknownst to me, and here we are. But
that's how they get you in.
That's how they get you in.
You don't even know you're in HR.
You're drafted. We call it drafted. Yeah. So look, I have 3 really fun news articles. I thought we could riff around about if you guys are cool with that.
Yeah. FYI for those that when we co-broadcast this, Pete refused.
I did not share it.
Yeah,
you have
did not share.
even
We're
seen.
sharing at the same time.
Exactly. So this is going to be live sharing here. So
zoom in on the eyeballs
That's
and
right.
the facial expressions.
I think these will be easy.
Serious face on
I think they'll be easy. They're very relevant stories that have come out lately, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about it. So along the lines of benefits and total rewards, right? We've talked about how, you've got to get really layered with that. You've got to have a number of different things to meet the personas, to meet the challenges, and so on and so forth, right? And the 4-day work week comes up a lot, and that's a benefit for some people. It's very effective for some organizations. But I want to talk about this for a minute because there was a recent study on the 4-day work week and the impact to the business and what they found out. And so one of the interesting things what I found is that during this study, right, and this was done over the U.S., Canada, the UK, and Ireland, right, over an 18-month period. And what the study came away and found is that workers were able to cut about 4 hours a week on average out of their day. And landing on a sweet spot of about 34 hours a week where prime work is getting done. So there was some fluff in there, even when they were on a 4-day work week. And Fortune magazine actually pointed out that for these groups of people, it actually drove a 15% revenue growth across their businesses, and among other things. But what are your thoughts on the 4-day work week as maybe a form of compensation or a benefit or whatever. Yeah. And what are your thoughts on it maybe becoming a permanent thing?
4 days, 40 hours, 4 days, 32 hours.
So yes, but what's interesting is that they're basically saying the 34, if you think about, if you go a 4 by 40, right, you're talking about cutting that 1 day out. When they work 5 days, they're spending a day doing nothing. Basically nothing.
But in theory,
and it comes down to that 34
if you move
hours.
someone to a 4-day work week, is their theoretical work week 32 hours or 40 hours?
Well, it'd be 40 hours over 4 days. Over 4 days, right?
Or compressed days. It's like when you're a firefighter, you do your 12-hour shifts and ship it, right? So it's just time shifts.
I've used it in contact centers for HR, and it worked wonderfully. Totally. We had great coverage. People were happy. You got a day off.
So there's a general answer, and then I think there's a within our space answer. So within rewards, I actually had the opportunity to lead somebody who worked a 4-day sort of time-shifted work week. And with the right person, it was magic because she felt like she could do what she needed to do. All the work still got done. It just got done on a different day, and it meant that our team meetings couldn't be on Friday. That's all it meant at the end of the day. And it was magic. And because she valued it, she stayed.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And candidly, I hope she doesn't listen, but she was cheaper than the replacement by far.
That was actually one of the key findings. 57% reduction in the likeliness of that employee to leave the company.
Correct.
She could have gotten another job and wouldn't have had to deal with me multiple times over the course of our tenure. But she stayed because she was not confident that somebody else would trust her to do it. Yeah. So it worked brilliantly. So as a result, I'm a natural fan. I think I like the concept.
I am as well.
It just requires the right person and a lot of trust. People have to be committed to getting the job done in those 4 days. It can't be a reason that things take longer. It needs to be a reason things get done faster, actually.
Compressed,
right. It's going to get done sooner. Yeah. So as long as the people have that right commitment, I think it's a fantastic thing. It meets people where they're at. Yeah. It appeals to a diverse set of people, but it does require a different trust that not everybody has. And not all workers are really well geared for that. They need a different time scale, if you will.
I think the practicality of it is what will get in the way at some point. Yep. So I don't think it works for every role. So especially in a mid-size role. Well, now the problem becomes, Paul gets to do a 4-day work week, but I can't because either my manager doesn't. So is the company bought in? I like the stat that more people stayed. I think that'll be the case until it happens. Yeah. I think it leans into just flexibility.
Exactly.
To me, the bigger story is flexibility. So I'm definitely a work-life blend person. Yeah. If I work 10 hours in a row, you definitely don't want to be between hours 6 and 10 if I'm working, right? Yeah. I have to take a mental break and go do something and go play somewhere. Yeah. But I'll also work part of the weekend. But that's the way I work best. And I think that's kind of the secret to this stuff. Some people need 4-day work weeks because they need 3 days to like compress and be ready and be super efficient.
Yeah.
And some people need 5 days because coverage, but also they just
burn out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's just a number of ways. So I think it's a cool concept. My practicality always is, how do you deal with those issues? It's like if you give bonuses to one team, in the same area, not the other team, like
how do you make it right?
It's going to create huge satisfaction for one team. What about the other team?
Yeah.
And so I think the practicality of making it happen, I'm all for it. Like get out and play. One of my new favorite books is, Work Won't Love You Back.
Yep.
And so like, that's a great book. So I'm all for like making it work so that you can make life work. But I think it's the hard part is going to be adaptation. Yeah. And I think who's going to have to carry the load in managing and administering that.
Yep.
Just to be fair.
True.
It won't be outside of HR. So now it's just who the short straw is inside of HR. How does that deal with payroll? How do you deal with time off? How many days off? How many hours off? Yeah. All that shit that comes down is going to fall on HR to make it happen. Yeah. And if it goes well, you know who's going to care? Nobody.
Yeah.
Right? So like I think that's where it's an interesting thing.
But if you get these outcomes, right? I mean, also 65% drop in sick days. That's interesting, right? I mean, I think that's a huge number. Look, I agree with you. I think flexibility and enablers is where it's at, right? All of the pieces and parts, whether that's 4-day work week, benefits, earned wage access, whatever the case might be, those are levers someone can pull to create a personalized experience, meet their goals. Employer gets these sort of outcomes.
Leave it 3 every day because you've got kids, right?
Yeah.
And, like that flex hour, same as, 5-day work day.
Yeah.
Hours over different, but now that employee, to your point, it's going to be hard to go. And I think that 60% is predicated on, will others do that, right?
Yeah.
If you're the only person that's allowing them to go home and take care of their kids at 3 o'clock and be a part of their life, like, you got to meet a certain threshold to pay. But after that, they're staying. That's super cool.
Like the happiest work time of my life, probably when I was employed rather than running my business, was when I had a paternity leave where I was taking it overtime.
Yeah.
So I took 1 day a week off for a long time. I had Wednesdays off. My wife loved it. I loved it. I was never sick because we compressed all of the, I have to go take the kid to the appointment to the day off.
Yeah.
So the company got great productivity from me and I was thrilled.
Win-win.
I loved it. And it was a Wednesday every week. I had a 2-day week, just lots of them.
I always feel like naturally there's just so many flavors of this that are out there, but a lot of times it happens in professions or in salaried workforce where you don't have to track it and it doesn't have these stiff parameters around it.
Yeah.
And it generally works well or people wouldn't do it. And
But if you move to box stores and other places, some of them have done it, right? Because they allowed, as long as you have, overtime rules and whatever. But you think about manufacturing and other places, you can't, right? You can't not have somebody there Friday. You can't keep the.
Right, yeah.
You can't keep it all rolling, the manufacturing going for 2 extra hours for 2 people who want to work 4-day work weeks.
Right. The
so there's a lot of practicality,
that'll
go with this.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, lots to consider there, but I think...
A lot more pay models.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, right.
Well, and managers aren't always trained in figuring out how to deal with this or how to respond to it or when and how to
They're
apply
never trained for that. No one, when they get hired into be a manager, do they ever ask, how do you deal with the merit cycle? How do you deal with discussions around pay?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do
performance?
That question never comes up.
Yep.
It's like, how good are you at manufacturing? What were your last? All the questions they should be
asking. Exactly.
Which is why it's so hard.
Totally.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. All right. Now let's switch to AI. We're going to switch to
this one. I'll talk less.
We got to switch to AI. This is a good one, though. I think you're going to have some opinions on this. I think you have opinions on everything, but this one,
true.
All right. New study came out. Nearly a third of workers are admitting to sabotaging company AI strategies. 29% on the whole, 44% amongst Gen Z. But I think there's a bigger data point I want to get to after this that came out of this I'll talk about. But I want to pause there, right? They looked at US, UK, France, Germany, and Australia, about 2,400 workers. Yeah, 1/3 on the whole are sabotaging. Do you believe that that's accurate?
Sabotage. I'm trying to think, are they unplugging the robot? How do you sabotage the
getting
initiative?
wrong results on purpose? Poor prompting,
or just loading up bad data?
Yeah.
Not using it, I could see. That's where, if that's it, just saying no thanks, that makes sense, or I'm going to use my own tool instead of the one they want me to use. I believe that there are people who aren't buying in to what my company is telling me they want me to do.
24% are fearing layoffs. So that's maybe that's why, right? I mean, obviously, I think that's probably the underlying thing here. But
look what corporate America is doing. They're blaming layoffs on AI results that they don't even have yet.
Well, here's what I think is the bigger story in this that I actually think was completely overlooked. 75% of executives in this study said that their AI strategies are basically, quote, for show. Digest that for a minute.
75%
of executives in this study
did this survey.
So I look and think, if you think about a couple years ago, when AI was coming out, a lot of companies were told, use AI.
Yeah.
What are you
board
doing?
mandates.
What are you doing in AI, right?
Yeah.
Go do some AI.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Still happening.
I say that's not a couple years ago.
But I think it's slowly changing to how are we leveraging AI?
Right.
What is it doing? And so I think they're starting to go there. I do think if you look at Gen Z in particular, there is, not wrongly, the energy cost, the betterment of it. There's a lot of that stuff that they're probably more aware of and linking their business to their personal career. And like, it's bad.
And known to have a distrust for corporations anyway from the 2008, watching their parents go through that,
2008,
right?
And, my soapbox would be corporations should never complain there's distrust because corporations earned it, right?
Right.
Anytime there's
fair.
money, AI, where they let go, like, they're just the first generation to be like, I see it. Fool me once, fool me 10 times, not going to happen again.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot baked into that. I don't know what sabotage. I'm very curious on sabotage. Like, not using it, like, okay, that's different than.
It sabotages the initiative, though, right? Because I think your point is, if I'm not going to use it, well, then it's not producing gains. As a result, they're going to see there's no measurable results. Yeah. Right. And it's job preservation. Like, I would believe that thesis.
I think that's a lot out there. There is a lot of self-preservation. So if you think about, we need to use more AI, and in the news, every company's over there saying, we're doing layoffs due to AI. I mean, it's not a giant leap to be like, do you want me to train the robot that's going to replace me thing?
Right. Selling Thanksgiving to turkeys.
Yeah. I will probably plagiarize that.
Go ahead.
That's great. But
I think we used to say in outsourcing, right? We're selling Thanksgiving to turkeys. You know what I mean?
I think that's a big piece of it, right?
Yeah.
So why aren't companies saying, here's what we're going to do if? Now, are you going to lie or not? But there is comp, ben, payroll, they're not over-resourced in general, right? And so the ability to say, like, hey, we can't, what's not going to happen is you're going to get more headcount next year.
Yeah.
We're going to prognosticate wild thinking.
Do more with less is getting throttled up. And now there's a chance to actually meet that. But here's another thing that I thought was interesting. This is, to me, again, this is the bigger story here. 54% of the executives also said that AI adoption is tearing their company apart. I think that's a people problem. That's a change problem.
Tearing their company
apart.
That's some
That's interesting.
Verbiage.
Yeah, that's big.
That sounds.
But I do think, I haven't read the study, but I see evidence where the divide happens between those that are embracing and those that are fearful. And that becomes tangible quickly, right? Like there's this, the culture changes around those that have and those that have the fluency and those that are talking the talk.
Yeah.
So I could see where that would be.
The cynic in me is thinking, we've all gone through days where senior leaders couldn't get into their own email and needed somebody with boots on the ground to do that for them. So, while I think that has long changed, I also am not sure that some of the senior-most leaders in organizations are the guys who are trying to figure out when and how do I safely use AI and what can I put into it, right? And so I just wonder how much of that goes into some of these types of.
I just think that it's a culture. I think it's 100% people problem, right? And a communications problem. So
change.
If you let go of some people in the customer support group because we're using AI, I think the assumption a lot of times is, well, those people will be happy they're here, but they're all looking around at who's getting voted off the island next. Yeah. And then, of course, if you're talking about getting voted off the island next and the four of us are left in the department, you're like, for sure, I have to make sure, look, I can't be better. I can't be better than Julie. I can't be better than Pete. I got a shot at being better than Paul. And so, like, now there's this internal distrust, and you guys are doing the same thing. Like, I know I can be better than Sean. Yeah. And so that's going on. And so I do think now, how do you work as a team? Because you don't want a team result when you're like, I have to do a team result, but I have to make sure it looked like I was the better player on the team.
It becomes Hunger Games real fast.
That culture with this stuff, because AI is all about efficiency, not gain. Like, think about the language in my mind. It's always about efficiency gains. It's not revenue gain and margin gain. It's efficiency gain.
Productivity.
Hey, I was at a dinner last night with a practitioner who is not to be named, who said that their husband is the fella who pulls together and infuses the AI and all of their initiatives into what they're doing in their corporate world, and got riffed with a bunch of other people. And
the baby got thrown out the bath.
Yeah. The baby got thrown out with the bathwater, something big, and then they called the very next day and said, "Hey, something's not working."
Yeah,
he's like,
"No kidding." Yeah,
but I do think you're right.
The guy the wizard behind the curtain left.
If it's all about do it more efficiently, that doesn't feel great to a worker. Like I know in the workshops I'm doing today, it's more about here are the things that you never get to.
Yeah.
That now you can find a way to get them done, or the things that you've been asking managers to do that they hate you for. Yeah. Maybe you can give them a fast start with AI. Like
we're focusing on the wrong outcomes.
Exactly.
That is the language for whatever the media is driving on, right? And of course they lean into it when somebody cuts 10,000. I mean, it's always interesting. It's a large number, right? Of jobs. They lean into it, efficiency, and they're like because of efficiency. Mm-hmm. And so even if you're a little company with 50 people, and that CEO drops the E word, right? Yeah. Like, to your point, like the employees don't care. Like, what does that mean for my paycheck? A lot of employees might be based on like, if the company's growing and we're making more money, my job is probably safe. Yeah. Or my bonus is better, or the bonus, like it's all good.
Yeah.
Efficiency generally doesn't lead to a lot of good.
No. Rightly or wrongly, I think AI is going to be the fall guy for a lot of, what's happening from an organizational standpoint, probably for the foreseeable 3 years.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Number 3.
Let's table that one. We're gonna move into your world, salaries, right? We're compensation, right? Salary.com, and we're gonna stay on Gen Z, right? We got to beat up on Gen Z. I love Gen Z. I got Gen Zers at home. I love studying them. Yeah. Okay. So again, another study. Gen Z wants ambition, but they without the old trade-offs. So in a new report by KPMG, Gen Z said they would give up $5,000 in salary on average for better work-life balance, right? But 92% of them still want or expect to reach senior executive levels in the C-suite. Can you do that with without work-life balance, or with work-life balance? Is that possible? Is maybe AI going to be the answer to make that possible?
I think that's probably it's a similar finding as what I know the folks over at Levels FYI found when they were looking at like people were willing to accept lower offers for remote over going into the office 5 days a week, right? So it's not exactly the same thing, but you can quantify now the value of flexibility. I don't see why it has to be a trade-off, would be my answer, right? Why is it that how I work affects what I'm able to ascend to within an organization, right? Like, outcomes should win, not showing up.
Yeah. What your outcomes are,
agreed,
is the biggest piece. I think you can definitely have work-life balance. Like, I've found that. It's kind of get your shit done. I think it's finding the right place. Mm-hmm. Legitimately, I ask a lot of people when they're like, I'm going to switch jobs, I'm going to do whatever, I'm looking for this. My literal question is, what's it worth to you? And they're like, oh, no, it's worth a lot. I definitely want to work on it. I'm like, no, literally, go for a walk. How much less money would you take to take that job? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's a literal number. Like, that's how pay works, by the way. It's pay ranges. Yeah. You're taking, and, a lot of times they'll come back and they'll be like, well, I take $2,000 less. Well, that's not less. Nobody gives a shit about $2,000. Right. And you take $20,000. Like, what's a legit number for you? 5 for their average salary is probably in the 50,000. That's 10%, right? That's probably legit. I think that's true. And I think a lot of the can you get it done? Gen Zers want different stuff. When I work for them, they don't not work hard. Like that's true. The misconstrue when they want to work and kind of what they want to wear when they're working and whatever. With how hard they'll work, they'll bust their ass. Yeah, I think they understand the general contract that you talked about. Yeah. You get paid, you bust your ass.
Yeah, that's actually a key finding here, that Gen Z is rejecting traditional work norms, but they are aligned with the idea of hard work itself. So I think what that says to me is they're valuing quality over quantity, so to speak. If I can simplify it.
I think at least I have Gen Zers
as they
too.
As they should.
When a Gen Z finds something, none of us started out knowing what the hell we wanted to do, right? We just didn't.
When do we find out?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
Sean's still searching.
Maybe before we end. But when they find something and they like it and they're kind of good at it, they are willing to lean into those traditional things. One of my sons is a finance guy, and in a large corporation, and close periods are a legit thing. And when it's closing week or closing month or whenever it is, you're going to be there no matter what your work balance desire is. Yeah. Or maybe you shouldn't like that career so much.
Well, their boundaries are different too, right? Yeah. And I think there's expectations. So, my generation, a lot of time, you might answer email at night, you might do stuff. And to me, that's work-life blend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's, if that management is expecting them, they have more boundaries. Like they work, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
when I work 9 to 5, like I might have 30 minutes with Paul. I might have, I might call some other people. Like you're probably getting your 34-hour, your leverage on that. So for me, the commitment to that is I work other times. They just jam for that period of time. Yeah. And it's business, and like the output is the same. And to me, it's output.
That's what matters.
All output. Yep. You're measuring production.
It's the same argument as the 4-day work week argument. Like if we start equating flexibility with like how hard you work, like that's the mistake, right? Yeah. Being flexible doesn't mean you work less. I have the most flexible life I've had in my career. I work more. It's just I can fit it around the things that I'm choosing to value right now, right? Like it's that's
output over
flexibility.
Input. It's output over input, right? When is is it output or input that you're measuring?
Yeah.
If it's just me sitting at my desk, is that the input or is the input the amount of effort they're putting in?
Agreed.
Do you think the risk to care for there is similar to a risk that we've had forever in executives or making it to certain levels? And that is, people have falsified their credentials and their college background or degrees or whatever. And so I do think, that's not going to end anytime soon. There will be people who falsify outputs to the best of their ability. Now, even more educated falsification with AI and maybe done it through college a little bit to get through too.
Yeah.
And so everything just becomes more sophisticated when it comes to figuring out what's really authentic and what is BS.
But once they're there, I think you can figure it out.
Yeah.
I'd highlight, I guess I could falsify and I can finally get that college education I've been looking for that I don't have. I can falsify that. I think it's more like in the hiring process because, there are guidelines around where you can go back in and I improved our department by this and improve that. AI can write it better. And, how do you really check that? Once they're there, though, like you can check output, right?
You can't bluff it once you're there, but.
Agreed. Well, look, off the hot seat, gentlemen. Those weren't so bad, were they? Those are great topics, great conversations there, starters, I guess I would say. But yeah, man, this has been awesome.
I've gone from 10 to 9 friends in Gen Z, though. Now.
Yeah, we've lost some. No, we're pro Gen Z. We're pro Gen Z.
We can actually loan you a couple of ours.
No, I have one. You want an exchange program? And better yet, she's a solar engineer. And so
I love it.
Definitely not an AI fan. Because every time I'm using AI, she's like, how much energy did you just use and how much water?
Like, no guilt.
I don't need to know because you'll tell me.
Yeah.
What comes after Gen Z?
Alpha.
Have they named that? Okay, you can tell.
They just come back around.
What is their world going to be like? What are we going to be talking about?
I got a couple of those. I can only imagine what's going to happen there.
They're not talking about them yet, but it's coming.
Man.
I'm just so glad mine are old and off the payroll. It changes so fast now. Yeah.
I gotta get mine off, but mine are all old. But anyway, no, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you guys, and great to have you on the show. I would love for us to do this maybe more regularly as peers. But anything to add or close out on? Where can everybody get you? LinkedIn, I'm sure. Totally Rewarding Chats, I know on Work to Find. What else? Anywhere else we should come out?
That's the easiest way. If you can't find Lucians on LinkedIn and not figure out I'm one of my 2 daughters, then that's a you problem. Paul's also, Salary, and then Paul's at Novo Insights.
Yes.
But LinkedIn's always a great place to start.
Yeah. I love it.
And actually, if you're from the payroll spot, your payroll Novo Insights, because he won't say it, there's a great compensation landscape view of the space to think about the comp stuff. If you're a payroll person thinking about what it's like in the different tool buckets out there. They put in an inordinate amount of money, time that they probably don't get any money back from. On that landscape, and it's a really cool overview.
I love it. Well, we'll include all those links, and enjoy the show. And thanks so much for teaming up with us, man. We really appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you to Salary.com for hosting us as well. And appreciate you, man.
Right. I feel like we need to stack hands or something.
You stack hands.
That'll send them crazy.
We'll break something.
Awesome.
Right,
Until next time, guys.